IBNXRadio.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this Friday edition of the Leadership Band with your host, Ricardo, Wrice, and my correspondents,
Ronald Newton, Double R,
Simone, Cherie.
Okay, so everybody's looking at my face. I'm kind of angry because they're torturing me and won't give me food. And Omari has the audacity to open this in front of me when I'm looking dead through the screen. Now, if I were to break it, he'd be mad at me. But you know what? It's fine. It's whatever. It's a lovely Friday.
Yes.
I hope he chokes on it. And, yeah. All right, so let's get right into Simone. What is the rundown?
Okay, so we got to talk about Kanye West's lunch on Thursday. Yesterday,
I just want to say we don't have to, but
we
clearly
have to.
Yeah.
We don't have
because
to, but
it's
fine.
still all over the headlines, and it was live streamed, which I did not anticipate. So I really want to get into
they
that.
played him.
Look,
They played him.
it was good.
Because I don't think they told him either.
Can you play a clown? Can you play a clown?
I don't think they played him.
See,
Trump was looking crazy too. Like, hold on,
See.
there's mad people in here. Like,
Look,
listen to what he
neither
said.
one
He
of them are ever
said.
scared of.
He said. I mean, I thought we were gonna talk and have lunch.
See, look. So
Trump was like, the man.
We'll get into that. I want to talk too about though Nikki Haley. She was the UN ambassador to the United Nations, and she's resigned now. So
Garbage.
and Jamal Khashoggi, who is missing. He hasn't been declared dead yet, but he's been missing for several days. He's an American citizen. He's a journalist, and it's said that he was killed in a U.S. consulate, that he was murdered, that he was disappeared. There's lots of rumors about it, but no solutions to it. And Trump has spoken about it. And anyway, I think that's really worth going into. And then civic participation, too, because we have one of the biggest contested races in the country right now in Georgia, which is our gubernatorial race, Stacey Abrams, who's running against Brian Kemp, who's the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State has just been hit with another lawsuit, this time by the Georgia NAACP and the Georgia Coalition of the People's Agenda over voter suppression. So there's about 50,000 people right now who are no longer registered to vote, who were this time during the last election cycle. 70% of them are African American. So I definitely want to talk about why it's so important to vote and to make sure you're registered to vote, among other things.
All right, so where you want to start?
So
I'll let you pick. Where you want to start?
Hurricane Michael, real quick. I want to start there. So the death toll's 13 right now. And the Carolinas really haven't totally recovered from Florence, from what I've heard. So they're going to be very economically devastated. They estimated the damages are going to be over $10 billion over the next 10 years. It's going to take that much to fix it. It was described as a war zone by the governor of South Carolina, just the way that it looked. I know Virginia got a lot of it. Southwest Georgia got a lot of it. In fact, two lives have been claimed in Georgia. One of them was an 11-year-old girl, and a really freak accident. A carport, basically a tornado-level wind picked up a carport, basically slammed it through the roof of their home, and she was struck in the head and died instantly, which is crazy. Because here in Atlanta, all we got was some rain, so we didn't really see how bad it's bad. I think the worst of it's over now, but I can understand why it claimed so many lives. It was insane. So just praying for people who are still going through Hurricane Michael and who have to go through the insurance process, which is a very long process. Even if you made it out unscathed, there's a lot more recovery for you to go. So yesterday, Kanye West. So New York Times reported on Monday that Kanye was going to be visiting the White House, and there was speculation constantly about what the topics would be about. So White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders originally said that the topics on the table were going to be sentencing reform, policing, and other sorts of criminal justice issues. But as the days kept pushing towards Thursday, the list of topics got smaller and smaller. So it went from that to Trump's accomplishments in Chicago, basically his use of stop and frisk and how the crime rate has supposedly gone down. Not true. And then by Thursday morning, the menu was released, and they basically said he was just going to be talking about Trump's historic achievements for the black community since his administration has taken place, which really, he says, revolve around employment. Black unemployment, being the lowest it's ever been. So I didn't know what they were actually going to get to talk about, and by the time they got to talking, it was like reality TV in real life. It was.
Always surprised.
Was
that's my thing.
nuts.
Always surprised at this point.
It was so nuts.
Edition of the Leadership Band with your host Ricardo, Wrice, and my correspondents,
Ronald Newton, Double R.
And Simone, Cherie.
All right, so when we left, we were talking about this, despite my better judgment, this whole Kanye West debacle.
It's not a debacle, man.
It's a debacle. This Kanye West debacle. I guess my thing is this. I feel like Taylor Swift changed the game. Because for her to come out of her closet of not having an opinion, and I'll say closet, her coming out of her political closet and not having an opinion initially and actually coming out and actually taking a side, I think changed the game. So now, it's like, okay, well, because we say rep your city all the time. Well, Taylor Swift did rep her city, and she said, this is what's going on. This is what I'm not going to do. I would advise you do the same thing. And as a result of it, I think thousands of people actually registered to vote in her state. Does Kanye have that same, should we have that same expectation for Kanye? And you're actually sitting with the president.
I think that Kanye has that influence, but at this point that people are so caught up in their feelings, they won't listen. Think about this. T.I. had the Know Your Rights campaign. He had the vote thing. Like, he did all this stuff for Obama and all this. We do this all the time. Black people do this all the time. Get out in the streets. Go vote. No, you know what? Don't vote. You know what? No, go vote again. We do this all the time. Get out and march. We do this all the time. We're so used to advocating that by the time it's like, hey, we got to vote again, bro. I just voted like 3 weeks. We not even, they don't ever give people the knowledge to know what's actually going on. You just try to get them in the streets. So if you get the numbers.
That is very true. Yeah.
Like, I think that's the difference in society right now. Like, it's like numbers versus knowledge. If I get the numbers, it look like we doing a whole lot of work. So you'll have mad black people in the street just for like the gram or to be like, I was there. They don't really know what they doing. They ain't trying to go to jail. Like, King he has the most felonies of any American ever.
Who?
Ever. Dr. King.
Oh.
The most felonies of any American ever. And he never spent more than 2 days in jail. Never. Like, never spent long periods of time in jail. Malcolm X spent 10 years in that guy. Because he was a criminal. And he got out and he read every book in jail. And he got out and he tried to change the world. Like, he tried to put Martin on game. The problem is we don't have anybody like that. T.I. ain't trying to go back to prison.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Like, the outcomes, and it's just like the knowledge piece, the outcomes have to be very, very clear. And this is why being well-versed in those issues is so important, because an arrest is not an outcome. Like, whether it's one of us or whether it's like Amy Schumer going to jail, that's not the outcome of politics. That's not what you want. What you want is, well, police officers need to wear body cams, or there needs to be a third party investigating a police department. They shouldn't be running their own investigations for misconduct. Right. You cannot audit my own taxes, no. So nobody should be able to audit themselves and clear a court. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the kind of actual outcomes that will make a difference. Being able to sue or find an officer guilty of a crime is very, very difficult. They have immunity laws around immunity laws that if they acted in good faith, quote unquote, which is what, their word, then that's it. There's nothing you can do as a citizen. So, like, those are actual outcomes. And I feel like, for me, and you made this point off air, which I do agree with, it is very easy, I think, to criticize someone, especially if they're talking about something like reinstituting slavery, who probably does need to be educated about it. But it can be very, very difficult to be that person, like to be that bigger person. And
to have that conversation.
It can be very difficult because of what they're talking about and the vehemence with which they talk about it. Like, you've seen Kanye when Kanye's really in Kanye mode, he can't be reasoned with. Sway's trying to tell him, I don't know, educate me. He won't let it go. Like,
but he said it, and like, even if you go back to that Sway, you don't know the answers. He told him, like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do this just for me. I'm trying to do this very specific thing here. My problem is that, and with a lot of people, I don't want to say I think. I know that Kanye has done some research. We think that he's not well versed. I think that he's not articulate. I think that
you think he has the knowledge.
I think that he has it, but he doesn't have anybody else to have conversations like this about. And I think that when he does have these conversations with his people, they're like, bro, crazy, bro. Like,
they might be, because Kim's not articulate either. And you saw when she did her thing with Alice Marie Johnson, and she's trying to do something else now. She's trying to get a guy off death row. she's not breaking it down from beginning to the end, but I do believe that she defers to her people. I do believe that she reaches out to other people. In fact, Van Jones, who has I talk about all the time, he has his own show. She consults with his company. She didn't go in there alone this last time. She brought him. Like, she brought somebody who does know what the exact laws are that are causing the problems, who the exact people are who may be, like, exacerbating the problems. So you don't have to know, but you do have to be a little humble. And my thing is, Trump and Kanye West are the two most arrogant individuals, I think, in pop culture. So it's like, it's very difficult to get somebody to listen to you who considers themselves a god. It is very, very hard.